They had Martinelli scoring a brace, the youngest Arsenal player since Oxlade-Chamberlain back in 2014 to do that. So again, a lot of positives. Shame they conceded that penalty from Rafinha. But overall, very, very encouraging. Again, the way they played collectively as well.
I can only imagine how you felt as a former defender, Frank, watching Leeds try and handle that Arsenal attack. How much of a pass, though, do you give them? As Jules mentioned, they had so many people injured and suspended for this tie.
Yes, it's one of the reasons why I will be nice to some Leeds players, because they have no much experiences. Even if Elling and Core, I think, or Koch, I don't know how you call him, I think has a little bit of experience and should have done better. But I'm more resentful, I would say, towards Mr. Bielsa. I know Mr. Bielsa has many fans in the world, because of his coaching and supposedly his talent. And Guardiola is one of the most person who is attracted to Bielsa talent. But I have to say, I don't understand, really. I saw him doing it in Spain. I saw him coaching in Marseille. And I see him now every time, after a year and a half belonging to a team, coaching a team, nightmares come up. And today's and the day before, I think it was against Manchester City, it showed even with players who are not all the time playing, it shows that the weaknesses of his tactic, the individual marking is not anymore possible in our modern football, because you open spaces like you never seen in the football world. Really, today that was just obvious. I played against Leeds. I played against Woodgate and Radebe. They were fantastic centre-backs. I think it would have gotten crazy to play in that tactic. It's impossible because you see players being right back, finishing left wing, and it's a big disorder, and nobody understands what they have to do. And they're tired of running like crazy, following a player from his first 16 yards to his last 100 yards after. So it's a nightmare for these defenders, for the midfield players, and they have to stop that because they're going nowhere near it. They have no tactic whatsoever. They open spaces like crazy, and the only guilty for that is the coach. So you can find excuses for the players, but for the coach, he has to change something.
He was the darling of the Premier League last year, Jules. Now, how much trouble is he in?
I don't think he's under too much pressure unless he lives by himself, and he's just conceded 11 goals in 2 games, 7 against City, 4 today against Arsenal. I don't think that Victor Orta, who is the sporting director and the owner at Leeds, would get rid of him, Angus Skinner, who is the CEO at the club either. I think they still believe in it. I understand what Frank said, but on the other hand, they played exactly that well last season with man marking everywhere, a lot of running, and they finished 10th in the Premier League, and we were all praising him. The fact is that today he had a 15-year-old on the bench. 15-year-old sitting on the bench who is never going to play, but just to make the numbers because of all the players they've got out. The average age of their bench was 19. What do you want him to do? Okay, of course you can change the tactic and the system, but when you've been using that system and making those players play for 4 years now, 4 years is a long time, always the same way. It's hard to say to them, oh, listen, let's play 5-4-1 and let's just all go behind the ball and defend. They would not know how to do that either. So I think he's keeping the same way, and it's not working. I know, I see what you mean, but I think it's hard. Both ways are hard,
Jules, I hear you, and I can understand. What is sad for me is to hear that one of the best, considered as one of the best coach in the world, has one tactic, one way of playing. You are telling me that for 4 years, he didn't try another system. He didn't try, in case something happened, that you have to defend more in zone, for example, at 5 at the back, and try just to get the draw instead of being smashed and scoring 11 goals in 2 games. That's what I don't understand. Yes, of course, you have players injured, and it's not the only team like that, but you have to have a backup. He hasn't got a backup. He never had a backup. It was the same story with Marseille, where after a year and a half, it became a nightmare for the team and the players to cope with the situation.
Wait, Jan's had his drink. Go on, Jan.
Yeah, yeah. Now I support the analysis, of course, of the boys. I think they take into some value subjects here. But what I think that is interesting with Arsenal Leeds today, I mean, Arteta, he's coming back from being a bottom club. If his name was not Arteta in the modern game of football, if his name was Nick Smith, he would probably be fired now. Arteta, he's come back. With Bielsa, it's a bit the same. And as Frank's saying, I mean, everybody praised him. And I think it's interesting that Guardiola beat him 7-0 and he praised him more, even more. If he praised him next time, he will win 9-0. But I think it's a fact that Leeds United have been in the valley of shadow. And Bielsa is praised all over the place. But now I just feel that when I see Bielsa, it's like Albert Einstein going to the college and is someone teaching people in the wrong subject. There is something wrong. Everybody knows he's a genius. There's something going on. Will he be fired? Probably not, because the Leeds fans are so happy that they're back in the top league. But what's going on at the moment now, just show you how modern football is. If you have the name, if you have the credibility from what you have done before, then they're patient. And then the Leeds fans will see what's happening with Arteta. He's in the Champions League position now, but there's no chance, I don't think he will be even doubtful that he'll be fired.
Yeah, let's switch back to Arsenal, shall we? Do you want to say lots of nice things about Odegaard?
Yeah, Martin Odegaard has gone another way. This is a wonder kid who went to Real Madrid when he was 16, and then he went a couple of loans to Holland, and then he went to Real Sociedad. Martin Odegaard is a guy that's developing, not only as a football player, also mentally. He has to be a grown-up player, so to say, also in his head. And you've seen the last years that he has been doing that. He's the captain of the Norwegian national team now. He's getting more and more responsibility. Yes, there are games that he just disappear a bit, and then there are other games that he will be the leader out there. And that is quite interesting to see that young team of Arsenal now. And Arteta said he's developing leaders now. And I think he's right. I mean, not leaders in the terms of what we were used to with Roy Keane or Matthias Sammer or Frank Leboeuf or whatever their names were. But this young generation, they kind of develop in another space. And you in America, you know that it's only in Europe that you should be finished article when you're 17. You know, the sports and athletes in America, 22, 23, 24 when they're mature. Sometimes we're a bit impatient in Europe, and Martin Odegaard has done his way, and I'm very proud of him.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.